Wanted to make a short video on this generator. It's a Coleman Powermate Powerbase 5000. It has a 10 horsepower Tecumseh engine on it. I see videos of people talking about these generators starting hard. Well, this one certainly did. First, I cleaned the carburetor that was on it, the original, no difference. So I changed the carburetor and put a new carburetor on it, no difference. The carburetor I put on it has a primer on it. These come with no primer, so I put a primer on it. And it helped a little wee bit, but it still started ungodly hard. So I thought I'd check the valves. Just take that intake off, these two screws, and you got a plate here into your valves, two screws. You take your piston to top dead center. Roll your piston to the top. The piston goes to the top twice, on the exhaust and then top and compression stroke. You want to be on compression stroke with your valves both closed. If one spring is up, you're on the wrong stroke. So take it to compression stroke, both valves down, and they're supposed to be between 8 and 10 thousandths clearance in your valves. This had none on the exhaust. That's why these engines start hard. There's no compression. The valve is staying open all the time. There's no compression to suck the gas up into the cylinder to start it. You crank your heart out with these things if that exhaust valve is out of set, which a lot of them are. I've had many of these Tecumseh engines, same thing. Anyhow, you got to take the valve out of there and grind a little off the stem to set the valves in these flathead Tecumsehs, which is not a big job. You have to take the head off. You need a new head gasket. Take the valve spring off and take the valve out and grind the stem off a little bit. Anyway, I did that. I got 12 thousandths. Both of them, intake and exhaust, between 8 and 12 thousandths is where they're supposed to be. Put it back together again. This thing starts first or second pull every time. If you want to put a carburetor on these with a primer, they have a different hookup for your governor linkage than the regular carburetor. If you want to put a primer on there, all you have to do is get a regular Tecumseh 10 horsepower snowblower carburetor, and here's the old one off of the generator. You just take that one little screw out that's in this hole here for your butterfly. There's your butterfly in the back of the carburetor. It's got a screw in the center of it. You just take that screw out and pull the pin out of it just pulls out of there. It's got a spring on it. Look and see where your spring's hooked here. Just pull it out and take the one off your new carburetor and put this, it fit right in it. Put the post in your new carburetor. Then you'll have a carburetor with this primer on the side of it. These carburetors, some of them have another hookup back here. That's not a primer line. That is your breather line. There's a breather tube. Runs from, there it is right there. That tube runs to your breather in the original carburetor. That's what that other line is for on the original carburetor. Primer lines are down there and they're really small, not up there on top. Anyhow, the reason these Tecumsehs start hard is that exhaust valve. If you want your generator to start first or second pull every time, you got to do the valves. There's no way around it. If you're mechanically inclined at all, there's only 4 bolts holds this tank on, and there's a plate under that, a heat shield. Just take that off and you're right into your top of your motor. Take this front cover off. There's 4 bolts holds that cover on, a couple little bolts holds this, and you're right into your head. The head bolts are torqued at 17.5 pounds when you put it back on. New head gasket, you gotta have a new head gasket. Don't put the old one back on. They're about 15 bucks. Once you get rid of this carburetor and this exhaust, muffler and intake, it's an easy job. Anyhow, hope it helps. That is it.